Okay, let's discuss the principle of manifestation. And just so you're aware, by the end of this, I'm going to remove the mysticism around how to manifest your desired reality so that you can finally attract into your life the things that you want and the life that you want to live. And so I feel like there's a confusion around what manifestation is. We think it's just kind of like, we think about something and we will get it, or we energetically attract something and we will get it. But it's kind of like a lot simpler than that in maybe a little bit more of a complicated way. So, manifestation is just the process of aligning ourselves to the frequency of our desired reality, the frequency that we would adopt if we were living in the reality that we dream of and that we want to live in. And now, frequency is just emotion, guys, okay? Frequency is only emotion. There's some misconception sometimes that frequency is this insane thing that is so difficult to understand. But all frequency is just your dominant emotional state. Because your emotional state is the energy that you put out into the world. It is the fiber of your spiritual being. Okay? And so what we're doing when we manifest, like I mentioned, is aligning this to what we would have with this inside of the life that we want to live. And so to give you guys a really easy example, if the life that we want to live would have a partner of our dreams, and then we would have a nice watch, and then we would have a nice car, all of these things have an associated they're all external reality, first of all, right? So desired reality. They would all have an associated internal reality or emotional charge, emotional driver. So partner, we want to feel love. Watch, we want to feel, maybe we want to feel like belonging, right? I don't know. Maybe that's definitely not how you spell that. And then nice car, we would want to feel respect, maybe, in our circles. And so each one of these external realities has an internal reality that it's driving or being driven by. And the reality of the situation is they're all emotional. And I'm going to give you guys right now the strategy to achieve that desired internal state and internal reality emotionally at will, as if it were a superpower. In order to do so, I need to explain something to you guys about how we as individuals perceive reality. So reality as we know it is, I like to kind of visualize it by putting it into a triangle. On one side of the triangle, we have what we know to be beliefs. And now beliefs, I don't mean like the sky is blue or my glasses are orange or something like that. I mean like inherent subconscious beliefs about how we see things inside of the world. So maybe money is scarce and difficult to acquire. Success is not for somebody like me. What are some other good examples? I am only worthy if I perform at a high level, right? These are all inherent subconscious beliefs. And now these beliefs that we adopt from early childhood experience or highly emotionally intense experiences throughout life, doesn't need to be only early childhood, dictate the way in which we perceive circumstance and external events. Perception. This is the exact reason that two people can experience the exact same objective external reality, let's say rejection from someone, and it totally affects them differently. At the end of the day, the action or the external action is not different. The rejection from that person is not inherently different in any way. But because they are fundamentally different people with different belief systems, they perceive the rejection in ways that are unique to them. And now, what is the unique perception, or what does the unique perception cause? It causes, again, to go back to the thing about the frequency, it causes us to experience the lens through which we experience reality, which is emotion. Everything that we go through on a daily basis and everything that is our reality is emotional. You and I having a conversation right here, we are both experiencing an emotion. And so the emotion is what creates the fundamental pillar for the triangle and for the three fundamental pillars of how we experience reality. Before I'll continue, I'm just going to grab a sip of water. And so if we can accept this to be true, right? If we know that emotion is the final frontier through which we experience reality, we know that we know that our frequency is strictly our emotional state. We can manipulate this. We have the superpower required to manipulate it, and it's called visualization. Okay? Visualization is the practice of just using your imagination to imagine things that are going to happen in your external world. And now the reality is your brain does not know the difference. I'm not going to write it down, but does not know the difference between imagination and reality. When you go through a memory and you create the same pain that you experienced when you were living it in the moment, that is a great example of that. And so what we need to do in order to align our frequency, which remember is just our dominant emotional state, to that of our desired reality, and as a result, put in the energy required into the universe to manifest our desired reality, we need to align our emotional state. And how are we going to do that? We're going to, step one, get clear, and I mean abundantly clear, on our desired reality. And I don't mean necessarily the desired reality materially. I mean get clear on the material and the associated emotional. So if you want the things that you want in your desired reality externally, like the material objects, what is that feeding emotionally? How do you want to feel emotionally? I want you to get clear on that as step one. Step two, we are going to define I'm just going to, for sake of argument, call it a canon event relative to that desired reality. So in the canon event, I want you to have someone else who would be associated to the reality that you want to live in. Could be girlfriend, husband, wife, parent, friend, whatever it may be, son, daughter, child. So somebody else. There needs to be an element of touch. So like maybe a hug or a dap up, like a handshake or something like that. And then also, essentially what you're trying to generate here is emotion. So the purpose of defining the canon event is to generate the emotion related to the experiencing of that canon event. And then what I want you guys to do in simplicity is just visualize that. Because what's going to happen when you visualize that, as you know, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, is you're going to be essentially your physiology is, and the energy and the frequency that you're putting out into the universe is going to be that of which it should be and which you want it to be inside of your desired reality. And so what you're going to be doing there is aligning your frequency to that of your desired reality in order to manifest it. Remember, frequency and emotion, kind of the same thing. And that, my friends, is how you go about manifesting the things that you want in life. Obviously, you can go so much deeper into a lot of the aspects that we mentioned, but I wanted to give you a very simplified version of how you can just literally apply it to your life immediately. So think about your desired reality, get clear on what that looks like emotionally, create a canon event relative to the emotion that you desire to live in, your external state relative to your internal state, and then go visualize it. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching.